Good morning, ABC 10 meteorologist Brenden Mincheff here with a extended weather update for you today, because today's kind of the main event. We've had this system offshore for most of the week now, to be honest, and it's just kind of been spinning offshore. It was far enough away that we had a mostly dry week. We did have some rain this week, but it was mostly dry. At this point, that low pressure is starting to push on out of here, and that's why we're getting all this rain this morning. So over the last several hours in Northern California, we've seen some pretty heavy rain move through as of this recording about 8 a.m. on Saturday. We're in a little bit of a pause, but if you're watching this closer to 9, 10, 11 o'clock this morning, I would expect that it's raining a little bit heavier out there. This rain will redevelop, and we'll have another push of moisture come through in the afternoon as well. There's not much in the way of snow just yet, but there is a winter weather advisory that we'll talk about because snow is expected. Not going to be a huge snowmaker, but there will be some snow to talk about. If you have any outdoor plans today, my recommendation would be try to go ahead and postpone them until tomorrow if you can, because we've got some pretty good rain chances through the first half of the day. We're going to stick with 50% plus rain chances through about noon, or through about 2 o'clock today. Better chances through noon, 50% about 2 o'clock, then dwindling as we go through the afternoon and evening hours. Especially through the evening will be mostly dry. Just a few spotty showers remain possible, but for the most part, by the time we get to sunset tonight, the rain in the valley will be just about done. Temperatures today only in the low to middle 60s across the valley, so it will be a soggy day. That's really why I say it'll be cold, it'll be wet. Just if you have those outdoor plans, you can wait a day. Maybe you're thinking about doing some shopping. Maybe you're thinking about leaving to go to your Thanksgiving destination. Again, I would just try to wait until tomorrow if you can, because it'll be raining out there, especially if we're going to go through the Sierra. It'll be raining all day, then it'll be snowing later on this afternoon, evening, and overnight as well up there. So just generally a stay inside kind of day. 63 Sacramento, 66 in Stockton, 64 Modesto, 50s in the foothills, 40s up in the high country. Actually, it's pretty near average today. The average high is 64 degrees, but of course, it'll be pretty wet out there. Here's that winter weather advisory that I mentioned a minute ago. This is for the Sierra for areas above 6,500 feet. This actually goes into effect at 4 p.m. Saturday afternoon and runs until 4 a.m. Sunday morning. So it's kind of short duration here. We're only talking about 12 hours, and it's from, again, Saturday afternoon through the evening and overnight hours to 4 a.m. on Sunday. That's when snow levels will be lowest, but it's also when the moisture is actually going to start to push on out of here. So things kind of have to line up, and I'll show you what I mean by that. Here is what Futurecast looks like through the morning hours. You see that heavy rain push on through and kind of redevelop later on in the morning into the early afternoon hours. Snow levels still hang out between 7,000 and 8,000 feet, so largely above pass level on I-80 and US 50. So just rain for most of the day. But we're going to get a secondary front that starts to scoot in as we go through the afternoon and evening hours. You can kind of see it there. There it was. It pushes on in. That front is cold, and it has colder air attached to it, but less moisture. If it lines up better with the moisture that's already here, it comes in a little earlier, we can actually get some better snow totals out of this because we need that cold air to line up with the moisture that's here and not just the cold air to come in after all the moisture is gone, because then it'll just be cold with little in the way of snow. So here's Futurecast midnight Sunday, and we still see some snow over parts of the Sierra. That winter weather advisory there in effect as well. That expires at 4 in the morning, and by sunrise, we really don't see much. In fact, it should even be mostly sunny for much of the daytime tomorrow. We'll zoom in and we'll kind of step through this a little bit slower for us. So here's Northern California with Sacramento right in the middle. And as we go from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m., you see those showers moving on through. And again, not a lot in the way of snow. 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., we get some heavier showers, maybe even a thunderstorm up in the northern foothills, Feather Falls, Grass Valley, Yuba City, Auburn, Placerville. Heavy rain likely. We also likely see some heavy rain from about Fairfield, Vacaville, along I-80 towards Sacramento and up into the high country. So now here's 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., and we still see those spotty showers. So a little less widespread, more spotty in the afternoon than what we have this morning. Maybe even a thunderstorm or two, especially down in the foothills. If you're off to the Causeway Classic today out in Davis, bring the rain jacket, bring the umbrella. It's going to be a wet one out there. It may not rain every minute of gameplay, but it'll likely rain for the majority of the game that'll be played today. Now we go from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. and we see more clearing in the valley, drying out a little bit with heavier showers now moving into the foothills, and the snow levels will start to drop as we start to work through the afternoon hours. So now 3 to 5 p.m., clearer in the valley, drier as well. Winter weather advisory now in effect for the Sierra. Again, for locations above 6,500 feet, we start to see the snow levels drop a little bit. Then that colder air really starts to push in. That'll help the snow levels drop even more after we get past sunset tonight. And I think snow levels will get down close to about 6,000 feet. They'll certainly get a lot lower than that early tomorrow morning on Sunday morning, but the problem is the moisture will largely be gone by that point. So snow levels will be dropping right as the moisture starts to leave. So it is kind of a question mark a little bit as to how much snow we're going to end up with up there, but those snow showers do continue overnight, tapering between about midnight and 4 a.m. on Sunday. 4 a.m. is when that winter weather advisory expires. And again, by sunrise, we've got mostly sunny conditions across Northern California. So again, you off to that game today. Big rivalry matchup out in Davis. Temperatures in the low 60s and rain showers likely for the vast majority of that game. Total rainfall, not necessarily all that impressive. I think we end up with anywhere from about 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 inch total across much of the valley. I think we see 1/2 inch to 1.5 inches in the foothills. And then that was the American model. Here's the European model. Very similar. We don't see a lot of discrepancy at this point, which is kind of what you'd expect since, you know, this is not a forecast so much as it is a nowcast. It's happening now, right, over the next 12 to 24 hours. So again, anywhere from about 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch of rain in the valley, which is, again, not a lot, but certainly since it's all falling kind of at the same time, definitely going to make those roads wet. Give yourself extra time to get where you're going on Saturday if you're going anywhere, just because you don't want to hydroplane. I do expect some ponding on roadways because it is going to be falling kind of all at once in a heavy rain, kind of in a heavy manner. And then additionally, there's a lot of leaves out there as well, and wet leaves are almost the same as ice. It really increases that stopping distance. It can be very, very slippery as well, especially at high speeds. In terms of snowfall, this is 3 p.m. on Saturday. We don't see much, even across the very highest elevations, only 1 inch or 2. It's not until 4 p.m. this afternoon and onwards that we get colder, that the shift into the Sierra really begins, and we start talking more about snow. So certainly by sunset on Saturday to sunrise on Sunday, that's when we've got that best chance for snow. And totals, again, not looking all that impressive. I think largely 6 to 12 inches is very fair, and that's what we see across the highest peaks here. So past levels, again, likely looking at anywhere from 6 to 12 inches, 12 being the very high end if that cold air comes in a little sooner, 6 to 8 probably being that ballpark number that we're looking at. But again, this is highly variable, has a lot of factors going into it. Just good to know if you plan on going through the Sierra, be prepared for chain controls, especially if you're going to be going on 50 or 80 after sunset Saturday to sunrise on Sunday. That's kind of that window of chain controls that we're looking at. By the time we get to Sunday afternoon, you'll be just fine. No issues. So again, that's why I'm stressing for, I think, the 3rd time now. If you can postpone your activities or your driving, just wait until tomorrow. Things will be so much better. Here's the European model that we're looking at now for snow totals. And it's very similar, maybe a little bit lower. We're not seeing those high end amounts of like 12 inches or more. There's no purple coloring here, but we're still seeing that general ballpark number of 6 to 12 inches across the Sierra above 6,500 feet. As we look ahead and beyond this storm this weekend, certainly by Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we're looking at sunny to mostly sunny conditions, highs right near average for the time of year in the low to middle 60s. I've got us about 64 for Tuesday and Wednesday, and then about 65 for Thanksgiving itself. This is for Northern California, but if you're going anywhere across the state, really, for Thanksgiving, I really don't see any major weather issues to speak of beyond this system. So, you know, just wait another day to start the driving, start that Thanksgiving travel. I will say maybe we could see a bit of a cold front move through late in the day on Thanksgiving, and that would kind of help to make Thanksgiving evening pretty chilly. I think we stay dry, maybe a very brief snow shower, but it's still a ways out. So just be sure to stay tuned. We'll keep you updated on that, but nothing really impactful happening beyond today. Look at tomorrow, though. I told you that cold air is coming in later on this evening. That helps to lower those snow levels. We will be colder tomorrow. I expect highs only in the upper 50s and very low 60s, 61 on Monday. Then we go back a little bit closer to average, 64 Tuesday, Wednesday, 65 on Thursday for Thanksgiving. And beyond that, we likely stay dry as well with highs in the low to middle 60s. And be sure to stay up to date with the very latest. Of course, ABC 10 Plus, we've got the weather playlist there. We've got our weather series, too, like Mega Flood, Water Wasted, and the California Drought Series, which I haven't done for a little while, but we'll get to some more of those later on down the road as we have more storms and more wet weather to talk about. Thanks for watching, everybody. Stay safe.